Hey, Johnny, you know we're on air, right?
Uh-oh.
This is Amanda Burke.
Jonny Emmerman.
And Jack Axelrod.
And we are coming at you live from our newly renovated studio in downtown Manhattan. Today we're going to discuss, or have more of a debate, about, how do I put this? The difference between female and male violence.
Why would you say female first?
I don't know.
It just sounds better with male first. Anyway, we're going to start off with why men are better than women. Jack, what are we talking about today?
You talking to me?
Yeah, I'm talking to you.
Well, basically, Johnny, we're talking about why it is more socially acceptable for a woman to hit a man rather than the other way around.
Well, before we break out into this fight, let's start out with the all-time classic stereotype that men are stronger than women.
That's a fact.
Psh, I would kick your ass any day in an arm wrestle.
Yeah. You think what you want, Amanda. Johnny, I can beat up Amanda, right?
You? No way. But that's just because you're a little scrawny booger. I'm not kidding.
I know.
Your arms are literally spaghetti.
No way, man. Let's go right now, Amanda. Arm wrestle right here, right now.
Ready? 1, 2, 3. Yes!
That doesn't prove anything. It's Jack. There's still no doubt that guys are stronger than girls. Here, how about this biology teacher that we have in the studio? Let's hear what she has to say. Peggy Segrist from Longboat Key, Florida. Are men biologically stronger than women?
Generally, on a whole, men are more biologically stronger than females because of their heart rate, because of their muscles, their body shape, and also because of their metabolisms.
I wasn't warmed up.
Well, you should be warmed up, considering that the sports you play, like other guys' sports, are much more physical.
Not always.
Okay, here's what we're going to do. Name the first 3 sports that come to your mind. Go.
Football, wrestling, and basketball.
Exactly. I'm pretty sure one of my friends is a cheerleader.
That's not a sport.
My point exactly. Guys play more physical sports than girls. It's a fact. Do we have someone else in our studio here? Maybe, how about the head of the physical education department? Let's see what he has to say.
Mr. DeCrescenzo, you ready for us? All right, Mr. DeCrescenzo, are boys more physical than girls?
I think it's the physical contact and the nature of the actual sport. It requires more. For example, take football in the fall and take field hockey in the fall. The football game is based on contact and physicality. Field hockey has some contact in it, but it's more of a finesse game. Cool. So the designs of the game could lead to more contact and more violence just because of the individual differences in the sports.
Okay. So I'm not on my, 100% game today. But still, I don't think guys and girls fight over basketball.
Okay, so I get this whole guys train more type of thing and play more aggressive sports, but is it just me? Or are guys always just more physically aggressive? Like, come on.
No, it's not just you, but that just has to do with testosterone, stupid head.
Let's call the doc. Hey.
I'm calling her now. Dr. Levenberg, you're on the radio show about gender violence.
This is my break.
We need you.
Doc, we need to know what testosterone really does to encourage physicality in guys.
Testosterone itself has been shown, even when people take like anabolic steroids, it increases aggression in men. Obviously, it makes them bigger and stronger, which also plays a factor in it too. But that is really what when people refer to as roid rage from like anabolic steroids, which is synthetic testosterone.
Yeah.
It increases their anger and aggression, and that's what tends to kind of do that.
Jack, the interview's over. You can stop playing your game now.
Wait, what was going? Okay.
So, is a professional in the topic good enough for you guys?
Yeah, make your excuses. You know what they say about excuses? They're like my asshole, they're full of shit.
Well, what about other influences, like alcohol? I'm sure that a good number of fights between husband and wife have had to do about people under the influence.
Sure, Amanda. Just because you're a girl does not mean you can just hit a guy. If you think alcohol has to do with it, let's call up Dr. Levenberg again.
I'll call her up right now. Dr. Levenberg, quick question. What influence does alcohol have on boys and girls in terms of violence?
Girls get drunker quicker and take longer to sober up. Like if you're going to talk about drinking the same amount of alcohol, that plays a, generally, that's what happens.
How would it cause someone to want to impose violence on someone else?
Your emotions get escalated. So if you're angry, you're really angry. If you're upset, you're going to be even more upset. Like your emotions definitely get exaggerated and people lose their inhibitions. And I think people also use alcohol as an excuse to behave in a certain way.
2-0 Amanda. To all our listeners out there, call in now if you have a story about a drunk asshole who went wild during a party while he was under the influence.
Congratulations! You are the 99th caller. What's your story, Miss Abby from Scarsdale, New York? Let's hear your story about this drunk asshole.
When did you get an accent?
I was in Britain last week. The
What's wrong?
I'm trying to think of someone that's from Britain that like speaks English, but I can't think of anyone.
You should probably mumble some more.
So back to that question.
People were unfortunately under the influence of alcohol, and this male, who I will not identify, kicked a tree really hard and nearly broke his foot. And he clearly would not have done so if he were not under the influence, so therefore, don't drink.
Okay.
Anyway, you guys remember that whole Chris Brown era when he hit Rihanna? Those were the days. Well, I'm sure that sent out a message. Let's call up all-knowing, intellectually sexy Mr. Phillipson. I hear he's the Gandhi of our generation.
Yo, Wes, good shows on lately? I bet you watch those real violent ones. Do you ever feel an urge to be violent from one you see? Maybe some 007 action here or there? Better yet, you think what people watch nowadays make them more violent?
I like that accent the best. Maybe you should stick with it next time.
No, I like these ones better.
What I've noticed watching TV and films is that when a woman is violent in a movie, it's usually because she's been raped or abused, and this is some kind of revenge fantasy. There was a movie back in the 80s called The Burning Bed about Farrah Fawcett, who was a very famous blonde at the time. She was abused by her husband horribly, beaten, her face black and blue. Over the course of many years, they were married, and her revenge was she literally set the bed on fire when he was in it and burned him, alive. And the justification was she'd been abused. Whenever I watch movies or TV shows where there's men being violent, it's because they're men. It's because that's what men do. They don't need an excuse. It doesn't need to be about revenge. It doesn't need to be because somebody wronged them. It's because they're men. Watching, and what's interesting too is that the contrast point is that violence against men, violence between men is seen as completely acceptable and almost part of having testosterone. The sitcom Happy Endings had a girl, all these people sort of lived together. They're 20-somethings in Chicago, and they always kind of bust on each other, play jokes on each other. There's an entire episode, and there's even episodes of How I Met Your Mother, Himium, about the slap, right? This idea that smacking a guy across the face is completely acceptable, even breaking his nose. There's entire episodes of Himium about who can slap Barney the hardest. And on Happy Endings, it's this guy and the girl are having this back and forth, and she starts smacking him in the face. And whenever he says something offensive or something wrong, she smacks him in the face. And if it were reversed, it would be domestic violence. It would be assault and battery if the man were doing that to the woman. So the double standard, and it's strange too, the double standard is that men can do violence as long as it's against other men. They don't need a reason. women can be violent against men because men are supposed to be the strong,